So I'm here with Coach Karin Best of Savannah Arts Academy, our dress code liaison for Savannah Arts. Coach Best,
Yes.
do you think the Savannah Arts Academy dress code is functional? Do you think it actually works?
Not really. The problem we have is some teachers will check the children for dress code, some teachers don't. Another problem we run into is I teach a full class load and I coach, so I have kids coming throughout the day that are sent to me because there's only a handful of teachers that really harp on it, and it's just very inconsistent.
Student of Savannah Arts Academy, Ben, if you could tell me, how do you feel about the effectiveness of the dress code of Savannah Arts Academy?
The dress code of Savannah Arts Academy isn't very effective. The way I see a dress code is that it allows for people to get accustomed to getting into a uniform or a dress code anywhere out in the outside of school, and it should prepare you for dressing appropriately. Although at this school there is a lot of no tolerance with certain things just being completely outright outlawed, I guess you could say, where there is no middle ground with it. It's either there's two extremes of the spectrum where you either aren't in fully uniform or you're just completely in uniform.
Here with Sierra, she's a student at Savannah Arts Academy. Sierra, if you could tell me, what is your opinion of the effectiveness of the Savannah Arts Academy dress code?
I believe it's ineffective, especially in an environment where we're supposed to have a creative mindset, because dress codes psychologically encourage conformity, and even though dress codes may make it so that there's an equal opportunity, it doesn't work in the case of Savannah Arts Academy, because it is clear with the ways that you can manipulate the dress codes, it's clear the income of the family.
Do you feel like the Savannah Arts Academy dress code is effective?
I really do not, and I really feel like it is not effective because it's not a uniform dress code. I think if we had a more uniform dress code, then it would be effective.
Mm-hmm. What do you think some of the primary causalities are behind the ineffectiveness of the dress code?
That we don't have a structured, again, uniform dress code. If everyone had to wear, let's say, khaki pants, a polo shirt, it has to be a certain design. It has to be uniform, because to me, uniform means same. And our dress code is fashioned that the kids can kind of be their own designer in the uniform versus it being the same. And that is because we don't have the sameness, that's why it's not effective.
Hi, and welcome to my cause and effect diagram. One of the issues we have here at Savannah Arts Academy is constant dress code violations. Matter of fact, it's something as of recently we've had a lot of conversation with other staff members, the students. It's a continuous conversation. It's like this never-ending merry-go-round. So one of the things I want to figure out, no one's ever really sat down and said, what are the issues that we have with dress code? What's causing these daily dress code violations? So using the fish diagram, I've come up with 6 categories: method, material, measurement, manpower, environment, and policy. So let's break them down. Let's figure out what some of the issues are that we have that could possibly lead to these dress code violations. First of all, with the method. When is dress code assessed? When is dress code assessed? What time of the day? Okay. Are we doing it in the morning only? Are we doing it at the beginning of every block? Or is it something that's possibly taking place at the end of the day? So when are individuals responsible for assessing dress code going through the assessment? Okay. Another part of the method. When an individual is found to be in violation of dress code, they're sent to the uniform closet. Okay. This is part of the method for our uniform policy here at Savannah Arts Academy. I find a student in dress code that in violation of dress code, hey, you're out of dress code. You don't have a collar on. So at that point, I'm supposed to send an email to another teacher who's responsible for the uniform closet, give the student a pass, and send that student downstairs to go through a change in dress code. All right, let's move on to material. Now, once the student actually gets to the dress code, uniform closet, there's usually not enough replacement clothing available. Great, let's send them to the uniform closet. You're out of dress code. I don't want you to go home. I don't want to have you waste all of that time. So go to the uniform closet and get a new shirt. Oh, we don't have your size. Oh, we don't have those size pants, or we're missing a belt, things of that nature. Once again, this is one more issue that we may have that could possibly be a causality to daily dress code violations. Now let's look at measurements, okay? Varied subjectiveness from one teacher to the next. Would it be part of the measurement issues? Okay. What I may deem as a violation of dress code may not necessarily be seen as a issue with another teacher, okay? And now we lead to the point, or led to the issue of inconsistency within the dress code. Another primary issue would be apathy with some teachers. Some teachers just don't care that much about dress code. It's not something that when they walk into the classroom in the morning, that's at the forefront of their processing. 9 times out of 10, I can even say so for myself at some points, that on certain days of the week, depending on what I have in front of me, dress code is not something I'm really thinking about. All right, let's move on down here to manpower. Okay. For the most part, the faculty is often busy with other issues. To reiterate my previous point that I just stated in regards to measurement, there's a lot of other things I got going on in the classroom. For one thing, state mandated exams are coming up right now. So kind of go to sleep thinking about that. I have my lesson plans in place. I wake up in the morning, hey, I need to get my freshmen doing this. I'm not so focused on what they're wearing at that moment. Okay? Another problem with manpower is this. One teacher is responsible for the uniform closet. That teacher is Coach Best. Coach Best does an excellent job trying to keep up with the uniform closet, but at the same time, Coach Best also has a class and a homeroom of her own that she is concerned and has to deal with on a regular basis. So you add the duty of uniform closet to the already present or full plate that a teacher already has in place. So she's not responsible for dealing with any student that comes to her for the uniform closet, on top of dealing with her students that she already has in the class as well, that she's still supposed to be going through instruction with. All right, let's move into the environment. Okay? The thermostat in our school is controlled by the BOE. Meaning this, when it comes to the temperature fluctuations within this school, no individual in the school actually has direct control over that situation. The thermostat is set by the individuals downtown at 208 Bull Street. And that's where the Board of Education is located. So if your room is actually too cold, or we're dealing with a floor that's too warm or too cold, or so forth and so on, there's not a whole lot we can do about it within that moment. So a student may want to put on a hoodie, Hoodies are in complete violation here as far as the dress code is concerned. But a child being cold and wanting to put a hoodie on, you can't put the hoodie on. So the child continues to be cold in class. Here I am focusing on the lecture, and the child is really focused on how cold they are. All right? Another issue with the environment that I think is not often addressed is this. South Georgia climate. For the most part in South Georgia, it's quite warm, really humid. It's hot, all right? We have a couple of weeks of winter, if that, and this year was a little bit of a surprise because we got a blizzard and I haven't seen that much snow probably since the early 90s, late 80s maybe. But for the most part, our kids are used to the weather being quite warm, all right? So a lot of the clothing that they may utilize is probably not something that's going to be within the conformity of a regimented dress code as what we have here at Savannah Arts Academy. And finally, let's discuss policy. There aren't any explicit rules on what is and isn't acceptable. Now, this point might be up for debate because some teachers may say, yes, there are explicit rules on what is and isn't acceptable. But I can tell you time and time again, I'll speak to a parent or I'll speak to a student and they will offer up so many points of ambiguity when it comes to the dress code that we actually have listed out. Matter of fact, it's really just kind of a hodgepodge over the years of things that we've added or excluded because the student has walked in and has found a loophole and now we need to add that point. You might as well write the thing in pencil, all right? Another thing, and final point is this. The school colors here at SAA are black and white. A ton of variation. We're a school for the performing arts, okay? Very much so right-brained. The right brain population here at the school is much higher than that of the left brain. So we have a lot of creativity. Our school colors are black and white. It's weird to have the art school have the most bland colors possible to be utilized. But because we have these such bland colors, when it comes to the materials that are available in black or white, it's expansive. It's massive. There's so many different types of clothing that you could utilize wearing black or white. And being that that's the case, for a school that's trying to set a dress code, students are walking in separate different hues of black. Cream versus white, eggshell, off-white, beige. And let's be honest, I'm a science teacher at the end of the day. The colors of the rainbow are not something that I would say that I'm an expert at. And this issue was actually brought up at a recent faculty meeting from one of the art teachers who actually is responsible for fashion. And she says she even has difficulty trying to distinguish parts of the dress code. She even made a suggestion that maybe we need to go away from the colors of black and white. If we were to choose a different color, say orange, or possibly even, we'll go even far as fuchsia, those colors are a lot more difficult to attain certain articles of clothing. So maybe you can pinpoint things a little bit better. All right? So whether or not some of these may be primary issues or secondary causations, they're still issues. And looking at each of them, I probably can point to maybe, let's get a different color marker here. I'll probably say explicit rules on what is and isn't acceptable. Probably a major causality here. All right? Because between teacher and student, parent and teacher and student, the rules need to be very clear and delineated for each individual of what is and is not acceptable. Looking at some of the other ones, dress code assessment. The time of the day that dress code is assessed has to be the same each day. Okay? I think if we assess at a certain point throughout the day, that'll ultimately help the manpower issue. Okay? Maybe allow this teacher here to have a free planning period at the beginning of the day. Maybe possibly rotating several other teachers who have first block planning as well to add in a rotational basis to help said teacher. All right. And finally, I like to do things in groups. The subjectiveness of the teachers, we have to get on the same page. I'm not going to say I'm completely innocent of it, but what is deemed an issue as part of the dress code versus what the next person deems as an issue part of the dress code needs to be set in stone for the most part, lack of better terms. We got to all get on the same page. And I ultimately think that we could possibly at least start working in the right direction of cutting down on the number of dress code violations that we deal with on a regular basis. Even if that means that we need to devise a panel of teachers who are willing to sit down and rewrite the dress code. Okay, and ultimately that kind of, almost kind of like a PLC, professional learning community, in which we delineate certain individuals to sit down, come up with an acceptable dress code, and then maybe give that back to the staff and have a vote via Google Docs, or whether it actually be during a faculty meeting one day on a Wednesday. But yeah, this is my cause and effect for dress code violations here at Savannah Arts Academy. Thank you.